All right, boys and girls, welcome to another read aloud of Miss Child Has Gone Wild. And in the last video, we did chapters 1 through 3, and there was a new character. There was a new AJ. AJ seemed to really like this girl. She came in on a skateboard. Everyone was trying to be friends with her. So it seemed like AJ and AJ had a lot in common, right? They like skateboarding, they like football, they like pizza. And then Miss Child came in with a snake and said that because they have the cleanest classroom, that they are able to go to a zoo for a field trip. And the funny thing is, when I first read this, when I first read the title of the book, I thought Miss Child was actually a child, but it seems like she's a grown woman, and she works at the zoo. So we're gonna see what happens in chapters 4 and 5 of Miss Child Has Gone Wild. So here we go. All right, chapter 4 is called My Zoo Buddy. Field trips are cool because you get to leave school. The only field trips that aren't cool are the ones where they take you on a field trip to a field. Going to a field is lame. The next day, everybody was excited about our trip to the zoo. My mom packed me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for lunch. Emily brought in a camera so she could take pictures of the animals. We all had to turn in a sheet of paper our parents signed that said if we got attacked by a bear or something, our parents can't sue the zoo or the school. While we were getting ready to leave for a field trip, Miss Hannah, our art teacher, came into the class. She told us she would be coming along on the trip as our chaperone. In case you don't know French, a chaperone is a grown-up who tells everybody to stop talking. Miss Hannah's art program was almost canceled because of budget cuts, so now she has to do other stuff besides teach art, like go on field trips. Mr. Granite told us that we would have to have a zoo buddy so we wouldn't get lost at the zoo.
Yo, AJ, do you want to be my zoo buddy?
Alexia asked me. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. I had to think fast. It would be cool to be zoo buddies with Alexia, but I knew the guys would make fun of me if I was zoo buddies with a girl. I thought and thought. I thought so hard I thought my head was going to explode. In the end, I didn't have to decide who would be my zoo buddy. Mr. Granite did. Emily, you and Alexia will be zoo buddies, he said. Michael and Ryan are zoo buddies. And AJ, you be zoo buddies with Andrea. Ugh, disgusting. Andrea looked at me with this big smile on her face.
Arlo, you and I are going to be zoo buddies,
She said. She calls me by my real name because she knows I don't like it. Ooh, said Ryan. AJ and Andrea are zoo buddies. They must be in love. When are you two zoo buddies going to get married? Asked Michael. Alexia was looking at Andrea. She had a mean face and had her arms crossed in front of her. She must have been mad that Andrea was my zoo buddy. Or maybe she just had to go to the bathroom.
Time to get on the bus,
said Miss Hannah.
Single file, everyone.
Don't forget to bring along your lunch, said Mr. Granite. Alexia was the line leader, and she skateboarded down the ramp in front of the school. I guess she skateboards everywhere. The rest of us had to walk 1,100,000 miles to where the bus was parked,
Bingo boo,
said Mrs. Cormell, our school bus driver.
Limpus cadoodle.
Mrs. Cormell doesn't talk like regular people. She invented her own secret language. Bingaboo means hello. Limpus cadoodle means sit down. Mrs. Cormell is not normal. We all piled onto the bus. I had to sit next to my zoo buddy, Andrea.
Isn't this exciting, Arlo?
She asked.
Don't you just love field trips?
Andrea was rubbing her hands together, which is what people do when they're excited about something. Nobody knows why. No, I replied. Andrea gets excited about everything. If a grown-up told her we were going to go outside and stare at a pile of dirt all day, she would be rubbing her hands together with excitement.
I hope they have elephants at the zoo,
Andrea told me.
Did you know that some elephants are 13 feet tall and weigh over 15,000 pounds?
Everybody knows that, I lied. You should never let a know-it-all like Andrea know that she knows something that you don't know. That's the first rule of being a kid.
Elephants also spend up to 16 hours a day eating,
Andrea said. So does your face, I told her. Andrea probably looked up elephants in her encyclopedia at home. What is her problem? Why can't an elephant fall on her head? I had to listen to Andrea tell me everything she knew about elephants for the whole bus ride. I thought I was going to die. Finally, after riding 1,100,000 miles, we got to the zoo. Miss Child was waiting for us. She came over to the bus and led us to a room where we put on our backpacks. Then she passed out name tags so she could pretend she knew our names when she talked to us.
Do you have elephants at the zoo?
Asked little Miss I Know Everything About Elephants.
Oh, yes,
replied Miss Child. Andrea jumped up and down with excitement, like she was opening her birthday presents.
Before we start the tour,
Miss Child said,
I want talk to you for a few minutes about our zoo. We don't believe that animals should be locked up in cages.
Blah, 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 blah.
All our animals live in an environment that is made to resemble their natural habitat.
Blah, 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 blah.
We need to respect all living creatures.
Blah, 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 blah.
There is nothing separating you from the animals here, so you need to be careful at all times.
Blah, 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 blah. When will this end? Blah, 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 blah. Please make her stop. Blah, 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 blah. Miss Child talked for 1,100,000 minutes about how wonderful animals are. It was really boring. I just wanted to see some cool animals, not listen to some lady talk about them.
I love animals.
Miss Child finally said.
Do you love animals too?
Everybody except Emily raised a hand.
I'm allergic to animals with fur.
She said.
Dogs, cats, ferrets.
That was true. One time, Neil the new kid brought his pet ferret, Mr. Wiggles, to school. It got out of its cage and was running around the school all day. By the time we found it in Emily's hat, we had voted Mr. Wiggles president of the school. Emily's probably allergic to her own shadow. Miss Child told us to go around in a circle and tell something about our pets. I have a dog named Buttons, I said when it was my turn.
Tell us something interesting about Buttons, AJ,
said Miss Child. There really wasn't anything interesting to say about Buttons. He was just a plain old dog, but I had to say something. Well, I said, sometimes Buttons poops on the floor. Everybody laughed because I said poop. If you ever wanted to make somebody laugh, just go up to them and say poop. It works every time. Nobody knows why,
Oh, that's too bad your dog poops on the floor.
said Miss Child.
What does your mother do?
She poops in the bathroom, I said. Duh. Everybody laughed, even though I didn't say anything funny. Next, it was Andrea's turn.
After school, I earn my money by dog sitting.
She said. You sit on dogs? I asked. That's weird. Why would anyone want to sit on a dog?
I don't sit on dogs, Arlo.
Andrea told me.
I take care of dogs when their owners aren't home. It's like babysitting.
You sit on babies too? I said. Isn't that against the law? Andrea got all mad. I knew that she didn't sit on dogs or babies, but it's fun to yank her chain. All right, chapter 5 is called Binky the Elephant. Finally, it was time for us to explore the zoo,
We don't want anyone to get lost.
said Miss Child.
So everyone hold hands with your zoo buddy.
Andrea looked at me and held out her hand.
Hold my hand, Arlo.
She said, smiling. No way, I said. I'm not holding your hand.
You have to. Miss Child said so.
I looked at Miss Child. She gave me one of those grown-up looks. I held Andrea's hand. Ugh, disgusting. Alexia had to hold hands with crybaby Emily. She didn't look too happy about it. Michael had to hold hands with Ryan. They didn't like it either. Nobody likes holding hands. That's the first rule of being a kid,
Would you like to go visit Elephant Alley?
asked Miss Child. Yeah, everybody said. Even Mr. Granite and Miss Hannah were excited to see the elephants,
I love elephants.
said Andrea. Then why don't you marry one? I told her. We all followed Miss Child to Elephant Alley. 2 elephants were lumbering around. They were cool. Everybody was oohing and eyeing. There was this big ditch that separated the people from the elephants, so they couldn't charge us and step on our heads and trample us to death,
This is Winky and Binky.
said Miss Child.
They come from Thailand. Some elephants are 13 feet tall and weigh over 15,000 pounds. See, I told you.
Andrea whispered in my ear. Miss Child climbed over the ditch and jumped right into Elephant Alley. Isn't that dangerous to be so close to the elephants? Asked Mr. Granite.
Not at all.
Miss Child replied.
The animals are our friends. We should love all living creatures.
Blah, 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 blah. She went over to a shed and took out a big easel and some buckets and paintbrushes. She dipped a brush into one of the buckets and put it in Binky's trunk.
What's he doing?
Asked Emily.
Binky likes to paint.
Miss Child said.
It relaxes him. That's ridiculous.
Said Miss Hannah.
Elephants can't paint.
Miss Hannah knows a lot about art, so I figured she was right. But then the most amazing thing in the history of the world happened. Binky took the paintbrush, pressed it against the paper on the easel, and drew a thick blue line all by himself. Wow, we all said, which is Mom upside down. None of us thought an elephant would be able to do that. Binky carefully painted another line that crossed over the first line. Everybody was oohing and eyeing.
Maybe elephants can't paint,
said Miss Hannah.
How does he do that? Elephants have more than 40,000 muscles in their trunk,
said Miss Child as she dipped Binky's brush into the bucket of paint for him. Binky painted more lines on the easel. Some of them were straight and some of them were curvy. It looked like he was actually trying to draw a picture of something.
What's he painting?
asked Andrea. It looks like a picture of an elephant, shouted Michael.
It's a self-portrait,
said Miss Hannah.
He's painting himself. It's beautiful.
She was right. With a few more lines, Binky the elephant had painted a picture of an elephant. It was the most amazing thing in the history of the world. We all clapped when he dropped the brush on the ground and lumbered away from the easel,
What does the zoo do with those paintings?
asked Miss Hannah.
Oh, we just throw them away,
said Miss Child.
May I keep that one as a souvenir?
Miss Hannah asked.
Certainly.
Miss Child said. She took the paper off the easel and climbed over the ditch so she could hand it to Miss Hannah.
This painting is priceless,
Miss Hannah whispered to us excitedly. You mean it isn't worth anything? I asked.
Just the opposite, AJ.
Miss Hannah told me.
I think Binky could be the next Picasso. This is a rare masterpiece. It could be worth millions of dollars.
Really? We all said.
I bet I could sell this to an art dealer.
Miss Hannah said.
And if I donated the money to the school, I could save the art program.
Wow. Miss Hannah should get the Nobel Prize for that one. That's a prize they give out to people who don't have bells. All right, so let's do a quick discussion question. The discussion question is, what do you think the next animal the kids are going to run into at the zoo? And which animal would you want it to be? What's your favorite animal that you would want to see at the zoo? If I had to pick, I would want to see...
I like giraffes.
You like giraffes? I like giraffes too.
They're just cool looking.
Yeah. I think if I had wanted to see a zoo animal, I would like to see a giraffe. So tell me what you think. What type of animal would you want to see next in a chapter, or an animal you would want to see in real life? All right. We'll see you in the next video.